Hi, I'm Lynn Schneider, Director of Marketing here at Shell Point, and joining me today at Shell Point TV is Ronnie Icho, who is our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and we're going to address a question that I hear all the time, and that is, if Shell Point is doing so well and occupancy is so high, why are we still advertising? Do you hear that question?
I hear that question on a regular basis, and I can understand why people would ask it, but as you would expect at any retirement community, people are moving through the continuum, which is exactly what you bought when you came here. You have the opportunity to move from independent living to assisted living to skilled care to nursing care, memory care, whatever it may be, temporarily or permanently. But when it is permanent, we need to refill those independent living apartment homes. And we at Shell Point are so large that we have a large number of people moving through the continuum at any given time. And so every week we have to resell a minimum of 2.5 just to stay whole. 2.5 apartments, that is, or 2.5 entrance fees. And again, that's just an average number, but we're regularly reselling these apartments, and we're regularly receiving lists of apartments that are going to become available when somebody's planning for a move. So with the numbers that we need to resell, we constantly have to continue to expose Shell Point out there in the marketplace. And so keeping the wait list full is a good way to make sure that Shell Point will stay full. So we market to people to encourage them to think ahead. And you know how it takes people a while to come up with a decision like this. When you're making a move to a retirement community, you want to be very planful in it, and sometimes you want 2, 3, 5 years to plan ahead. So we're sending the message out to all different neighborhoods of people, all different age groups of people, all different interest groups, to ensure that if they are considering a move for the future, that they plan to get on the wait list for Shell Point. If the average sales cycle is 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it may be at different communities, and we're reselling 100 to 200 per year, we need several hundred on that wait list to continually usher through. And people change their mind, their needs change throughout the years when they're waiting to get into a community. So it's wise for us to keep that wait list full at all times and to be nurturing those relationships so that when people are ready to come to Shell Point, they feel they've been exposed, they feel they've been communicated with, they feel that they've had all of their questions answered through the process.
And I think that length of time in that process makes it very important that they're hearing from us on a continual basis.
You're right.
It's not like you want to hear from somebody once a year and then you forget about them. It's like we want to hear from them and they want to hear from us regularly. And part of that is through our advertising, and then part of it is through those interpersonal relationships that you set up with the prospects over in the Welcome Center.
Yeah, and one thing I know, the marketing team has been so helpful in the process of planning some events for our waitlist members. We love for them to experience the lifestyle opportunities that are here at Shell Point, whether it's through joining us for a meal and a concert, or perhaps going on a boat trip, or experiencing one of the programs that Resident Life has put on for our residents. Those prospects, or those people who are considering coming here, are best acclimated when they have experienced the lifestyle and met the residents. That's the key.
Our number one salespeople totally are the residents. Now, I think something else that may be happening in the marketplace that is also a reason why we have to keep our name out in front. We have to be the brand that everyone thinks of when they think of excellent senior living. And of course, that's the growth in this area. And we're seeing it everywhere. And then there's also a lot of competition coming online. Tell us about that.
There's new retirement communities popping up on every corner.
That's true.
And they are not like Shell Point. First of all, they don't have the location that Shell Point has or the programming that Shell Point has, but they also don't have all of the levels of care that Shell Point has in place. So when we go out to market, we want to be sure that we're identifying what is unique, what is compelling about Shell Point, what is different, and what is true.
Now, talk a little bit about our reputation, because it's one thing when you know the things that you do internally, but us telling that story outside, I think, does also go back to why we keep those messages going all year long.
Yep, I know that Shell Point is nationally known leader in the industry, and that is a wonderful blessing to walk into a community that carries a phenomenal reputation. The reputation precedes this community. People know about it before coming in, and they know about the care, they know about the culture, they know about the service, they know about the staffing. They come to us and tell us, I have a friend or family member who lives here and I know the care that they've gotten. Or my parent lived at Shell Point, my grandparent, my aunt, my uncle, my sister lived at Shell Point. And I saw how the staff cared for her, and that's what I want. I want to put a plan in place so that I have that down the road. And in the meantime, I know this community offers what other communities cannot offer because of the size, because of the growth over the years. We are just living as beneficiaries of some of the visions that have been planted by residents who've gone before us, or by staff that has gone before us, by leaders who've gone before us, and they've developed programming that is truly unparalleled. You know,
boy, that is so true. Now, we've got a variety of ways for people to learn about Shell Point. Of course, we put advertising messages out there, and what is on the internet is very important. So we have our website, which is very helpful and is full of information, and we do a lot of email marketing and things like that. But a lot of times it's very personal, and so we have events that tend to draw people to us, and it's in a way that makes them feel comfortable and kind of confident in revealing that they're interested. So tell us a little bit about the weekly seminars, and also we took this on the road a while back and talk about that as well.
We've really discovered over time that the key to this is being consistent, being repetitive, learning our audience, staying in touch with our audience, hearing what's on the minds of the prospects who are considering coming to Shell Point. And we could do that by doing it regularly, interacting with people every week, every day. But every week we hold seminars for about 25 people. We do it twice a week during season. In fact, we're still doing it twice a week right now, and it is great. It's going well. So each week we bring in these groups, a couple dozen people come and they hear a seminar. Our sales team members rotate through and present. So the people who come can get to know each one of our sales team members, and then we invite them back for a personal appointment. So they come to a group seminar, they hear about Shell Point in a group setting, they hear other people's questions, which is helpful because we all raise questions that somebody else might not be thinking of. But then we invite them back for a one-on-one appointment. And generally, if they come to the next one-on-one appointment, they have many times the interest in joining our wait list. And so often our second or third appointment turns into, or their second or third interaction with Shell Point winds up turning into them joining the wait list. What you had referred to was taking our show on the road, and we felt that it was important. It was critical at this time, while all these other retirement communities are popping up out of nowhere, to take our message out to the public and head to areas like Marco Island in Naples, Bonita Springs, go to Sanibel Island. But most recently, what you had asked about was the road show that we did. And we went out to different hotels and restaurants and community centers and had groups of 50 to 150 that came together for each one of those, and they just want to learn about Shell Point. And several raised their hands and said, yeah, I've been to Shell Point, it's amazing, I just wanted my friends to come and hear about it. But we have had just wonderful interest in those groups, many positive questions, good questions, challenging questions that were helpful for others to hear, and they were helpful for us to stay in touch with. But many have come to join Shell Point's waitlist from that, and we have several on the books. We're booked out through June with appointments for people on the road shows that wanted to come back and see the community. So thanks to the vision that was cast before us about ideas for this and the help of the marketing team and getting the message out there, we were able to have some great success, and it's been good.
We've always been very blessed to have a nice, robust wait list, to have a really experienced sales team, and to have that reputation out in the marketplace that attracts people and draws them to Shell Point. And I think the fact that we do keep the message out in the marketplace all year long,
have to.
And just always want ShellPoint to be the #1 organization that individuals will think of when they start thinking about where should I go if I want to retire and have those kinds of services that I might need. So thank you so much for coming and helping to answer that question. I will say we'll probably hear it again and again, but this is an opportunity for all of you to understand a little bit behind the scenes of what the sales process and the marketing process is all about. And we hope that that has answered your question about why do we advertise when ShellPoint is full. Thanks for joining us.